Thank you, thank you.
Crystal,
All
can
right,
you
so
enlarge your screen?
Enlarge my screen?
Yeah, down at the
make
bottom.
the font, make the font bigger.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm squinting at it. Thanks.
All right, so we are on agenda item 7B.
Actually, 7A still.
Oh, we are? Never mind.
Yeah.
No, we voted to go into rulemaking.
We did, but then we didn't talk about the current applicant, the current person who.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on 7A still.
So what is the board? I mean, essentially the rule is what the rule is. And meaning it doesn't look like we require the 36 hours of minor surgery proctology. Doesn't look like we require the background check or the organ specific exams. So we just have them apply without those things. I think that a good question, Heather, would be to ask them what level of security clearance that they were, if they have gone through that process, when they went through it and what level.
Okay, and I'm allowed to ask them that?
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we also getting a verification of licensure from the other state?
She sent that over. She sent her spouse's orders to Klamath Falls. Like, she's on top of it. I mean, and she has a valid license in Pennsylvania that with no disciplinary actions or anything. So like she's sent over the stuff that she's needed.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, really, if we can get someone who's qualified in Klamath Falls, they need all the help they can get. So,
so then, does she need to submit a regular application with the $450 fee or $495 fee, or no? Is it in the rules up above as for a temporary license? Oh, a completed application and payment of fees. So she still has to pay the full $495.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, and it does say a completed application. In our application, isn't going through a background check part of the application?
I mean, part of the fee is for the background check, but that would, if we don't require, I guess, what is your definition of a completed application?
It would be
what I would imagine whatever we require, but that's the question, Lori, is a completed application for us right now. Someone who's not temporary licensed would be the 36 hours, the organ specific exams and all that.
So what is the application look like? Like, does it have a cover page and it has the little, like, you got to do this check mark, get a background check, pay your fee? Because then we could say the background check is part of a completed application if the background check is mentioned within the application itself, I think.
Well, so right now the instructions requirements for application does list a $495 non-refundable fee, $450 application fee, and $45 background check fee. Official electronic transcripts doesn't say anything about what is on the transcript. Photocopy of the diploma, signed declaration, which is part of the application. Transcript of grades from the NBCE, signed attestation, photo within the last 6 months. A letter of recommendation, list of employment, and number 10 is fingerprint background check. Which is, I send the instructions for that after I get the application.
So if all of that is mentioned within the application itself, and I know it's online rather than like a physical piece of paper, but to me, if you were going to ask for like a written application to fill out, if that language is on that, I think that includes it, and I think we can require it now rather than waiting. That would be my take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Lori.
Oh, and I think whatever with the minor surgery and proctology, did we, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, and I apologize, I was still waking up. But here, do you have to do special classes to have those kind of extra certifications?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Okay. So whatever, I think like this would mean that we're only granting them the equivalent of what they have in their home state is what I would call it. So if they have a specialty there, I think we'd be required to consider it as long as we have the equivalent here. But otherwise, I do think they're limited to whatever their home state license is. I don't know.
So you're saying for this applicant, we would not need 36 hours of minor surgery proctology?
It doesn't say that part.
Okay.
So if we have, so I would think that, so the idea of the law is that people get moved around and they don't have to individually apply. So we have to make it as easy as possible and kind of let them do what they were doing in their home state within reason in Oregon. So as long as we actually have the equivalent of what their license or specialty is in their home state, I think we'd have to let them. In Oregon, if we require, oh gosh, that's a hard one.
I mean,
I think
I think there's like a separate, kind of like if they wanted to practice obstetrics, like for us, there's a separate thing they have to go through. I think the same for like the minor surgery, possibly. If they want to practice proctology or something, but I'm not 100% sure.
That's correct.
Oh, so those are separate. So I think that in October, I think we have to add that they have to apply for those individually if that's what we ultimately want to do.
So what I'm hearing, Lori, then is that yes, we need the background check is included in the completed application. So they'll need to do a background check, that the 36 hours for minor surgery proctology is not required, and the organ specific exams aren't required.
That's my understanding of kind of thinking about it since we talked about it this morning and then reviewing the language here again. That's kind of my thoughts.
Okay.
So a quick question as a follow-up. If this person wants to extend this temporary license beyond the 13 months, will they then be required to do the 36 hours of minor surgery proctology and the Oregon specific exams?
I say yes.
I would say yes.
And how long would you give them to do that?
You would treat this as a renewal, and they would also have to meet those qualifications
By the time
as
they
far-
renew?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's something we need to add, though. We need to add that language in October.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, if we had somebody asking to renew, I would disagree. Like, it doesn't say that then you have to do this stuff.
Oh, it doesn't say anything about renewing right now,
Mm-mm.
does it?
No, it just says it
Right.
expires.
So they would have the right just to go through the exact same process they did.
Put in a
because
new
You
application?
can't. Yep. So whether you have to apply for this every 3 months or 6 months.
Right
As
now it's
long as
13 months.
Yeah, but as long as they or their spouse are on active duty, they have the right to this kind of easy, or not easy, that's the wrong word, but
Expedited.
thank you,
Mhm.
process for licensure, because it allows, the idea is that families can move around the state or the country, excuse me, easily.
In the last paragraph for it states that the temporary license is not renewable. And it states that if they want to get a permanent license, that they have to go through the regular process.
Okay.
So
There
it
you go.
wouldn't be a renewal.
Right.
So it'd be a new application, a new $495 fee.
Yep.
Okay. Second question. So there's a $495 application fee, and then at the end of the licensure, when they've typically when people have completed everything, there's a $234 initial license fee. Do they need to pay both of those?
I would say so, because they're
Yeah.
being licensed.
Yeah, I would say as written now, that's what it
Mhm.
says.
Even for the temporary.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Heather, in the application that's on the website, does it
Mhm.
reference the applicant's guide
Yes.
within that? Because
Yes.
if it does, the applicant's guide has all of these as requirements for being licensed in Oregon for a complete application. It has the minor surgery, it has the organ specific exams. I mean, it has everything. So I don't know if that would constitute a complete application because it's part of the actual application now. It references everything that they need as part of a complete application.
I think when we review the rule in October, we should also bring the applicant's guide to look at it. I think right now, though, we can make exceptions to the applicant's guide as far as for the temporary licensure.
Okay.
That's a really good catch though, Miriam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And thank goodness somebody can read to the end. I think that was Mike. About the temporary. I'm like, oh, it does address it. Shoot. Didn't read to the end. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'd forgotten about that part.
All right. I
Okay.
think we have our answers. Any other questions, Heather?
No.
Staff?
Nope.
All right, moving on to 7B. Prepaid and contracted treatment plans.
So this is just review right now. The question before the board is, do we want any changes made to these next, six rules or so? And if so, enter rulemaking for October. Krista, can you enlarge that a bit? I know Lori's like face planting into her screen. Thanks.
Now I'm turning my camera off. Yes, I was.
I'm going to check the rule citation. $11,015. Let's see. Actually, go back up, Chris. I need that 811-015. Wait, no, 015.
Hey, Cass, can I say something for a sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't know how relevant this is, but I'm working a case right now that involves this and involves the refund policy part, the A that's right on top of the screen right there. This is the one, Cass, where the chiropractor bought the practice, and then the contract that was signed when they bought the practice said that they only had to refund if they were unable or unwilling to provide the service. And they were not in their interpretation, but the client just said, well, I don't want to go to the new doc and asked for the money back, and the doc didn't refund it. And so I'm interested to see with the wording here, how this goes on whether if the patient just chooses to discontinue care at patient's choice, if that is what the board wants to kind of be part of that standard. It makes sense to me, but that's the tricky part that I'm dealing with in the specific case. So I'm interested to see that wording and whether that would supersede a contract between two docs when one buys a practice or not.
Yeah, it looks like 3B. I mean, the patient has that right anytime.
Right. And so if there's if a contract, a sales agreement
Mm-hmm.
doesn't say that and just says it only applies if you can't or are unwilling to provide to the new patient, does this rule supersede that? Is that the suggestion that, and I think that's the way to go.
I think
It
it,
just makes
I
me
would
think
say
about
it
it
does.
because we got a case right now like that.
yeah, I would think it does.
I like it.
Yeah.
So Cass, is there a reason that you can think of offhand why we should go into rulemaking on this? Otherwise, reading it, it makes sense as a
Yeah,
public
no,
member. I
no, this is
understand.
purely just for cursory review because we just haven't reviewed them in a long time. So
Okay.
just to get our eyes on it again and see if there's things have changed since the last time we moved, we changed anything. I wasn't seeing anything either. So no, I mean, if we don't need any action on this, then we can move on forward.
Yeah. I don't see anything. I understand it. So
Anybody see changes? Going once, going twice. All right. Moving on to OAR 811-015-005-0005. Wow. It's our favorite rule.
I'm going to do this rule check here really quick. Wait, go up, Krista. The rule at the bottom. No, go down. There's a rule referenced at the bottom of the page, first page. Nope. Right there. 811. Zero 35. Two A and B. Yep, that's all good. That reference is fine.
That's a lot of A, B, C's, capital A's, B, C's, D's.
Yep. You can thank the Secretary of State's office.
Any changes?
Reading it, I understand it. I don't see a need for any changes unless, again, there are issues that have come up. But otherwise, it looks good.
Do I see a discrepancy when we were talking about imaging earlier? I believe it said that imaging needed to be maintained on file until the patient turned 18. This, and my recollection of records, clearly states that it's 7 years after the patient turns 18. But I believe that's different than what we read on the X-ray stuff earlier.
The
Yeah.
Just to
what was on
complicate matters.
yeah, what was on the X-ray was until they turn 18 or whatever, whichever was longer. So it didn't mirror this language. It probably should.
Yeah,
the X-ray rule.
I would think it should.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can go back and re-edit. I'm not familiar with the process here, but I believe this language is the language is interpreted by most chiropractors within the state.
Yeah. So we can go back. We would have to open rulemaking on it again on the X-ray rule and just have a new make the amendments and have a new motion and second for the final. Any changes to this rule?
Good.
Yeah.
All righty. Moving along.
So in the prior rule, we wrote out 30, the word 30, and here we say 30 days. We use the number.
So do we want to keep the number or do you want to write it out? And is this something, Krista, is changing the written or the number substantial enough to go into rulemaking, or is that something that we can do under their expedited process?
I think we could do it under their expedited process.
Yeah. Yeah. So it depends on what the board wants. If you want the number, then we can go back to the other rule and create the number. and just change that? Or do you want it written out?
I can't remember what we normally routinely do.
I don't know either.
Okay. I'm like,
I
no,
haven't paid attention.
sorry, I noticed it. We go back and forth quite a bit in the rules that I'm kind of just going through. I just did a search and put in the word days. And sometimes we write it out, sometimes we use numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the majority we use numbers. But that's just me guesstimating, estimating.
Yeah, we can go back to the records rule and just make that change.
On this one?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it now, Krista. I just have it in my notes.
Okay. There's somewhere in this records rule, like a days.
Yeah, that 30 is written out rather than the number. So
Okay.
we'll just find it later. I have it.
Okay, got it.
It's in there multiple times.
Yeah.
There's also 1 year and 2 years are written out instead of numbered. I don't know if that's something we want to get into.
Should we change x-rays to imaging here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's in there multiple times too,
Yeah.
fortunately.
And I think this would require rulemaking.
Yes.
Somebody feel motiony?
Scroll back to the top. And I make a motion that we move into rulemaking in OAR 811-015-0006 in October.
Thanks, Lori.
Second.
Scott?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
and I for myself, motion carries. That is so sad.
She sounds so miserable.
All right. So on to 811-015-0010.
What's interesting about this rule is that we have an introductory paragraph, which is not numbered or anything else, which is odd. I mean, it's fine if we want to leave it, because then we don't have to do subparts.
feel like this was a drive home point kind of introductory.
Yeah, it was. I very much remember that.
Do we need to spell out parts in section 3? I don't know what that stands for, but you guys do.
It's described right below.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I hadn't gotten that far.
I was like, what more does she need? I don't know.
Well, at least you know I'm reading it now. I passed.
Now.
I think we're ready to scroll, please.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. All right, any changes on here?
Not that I can see. I understand it after you guys clarified where parts was at.
Good. Okay. All right. Minor consent rule.
Michelle, do you need to give the numbers on these or not? 'Cause
Not
we're
right
not.
now.
Okay.
No. Good question, though.
There's a typo in A, treatment and diagnose, not treatment and diagnosis. Correct? They give consent to treatment and diagnosis.
This sounds funny altogether.
Yeah, it does. It's like the words don't, I don't know. I'm not an English major, so we want to be real careful taking advice on that from me.
Well, what if it was give consent to examination and treatment? And not even say diagnosis?
Yeah,
Does diagnosis have to be in there?
I don't
I
think
would
so.
say
'Cause
that from the previous section that we just read, I would say that no, because the section that we just read maintains that diagnosis is mandatory between examination and treatment.
So you would change this to give it consent to examination and treatment.
Yeah, at least that's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, no, good
Not
catch.
necessarily planting my flag on that, just throwing it out there.
I'll plant mine.
I have a silly question about a minor's. If someone's 14 or younger, then there's no that's not a minor consent. Correct.
That's right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, well, then I vote to enter rulemaking in October for 811-015-0011.
Before we do that, in B, I think it also sounds strange. Consent to treatment is supervised and diagnosed, as supervised and prescribed, maybe, by a physician? Or do we care and just want to leave it?
Put it in there.
Yeah, I think that wording is better than what's here.
Okay. So there was a motion.
Yep.
And in the other rules, are we calling chiropractic assistants certified chiropractic assistants, or did we change that?
We did not change that. It's fine as it is.
Oh, thank you.
So technically there's a motion and it either has to die or there needs to be a second, and then we can have more
Second.
discussion.
Second, second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
I
Lori.
think so treatment and diagnosis may be a term of art used throughout other areas, and that's why it was originally used. And I'm not 100% on that, but that when we were talking about changing it, I just was kind of looking at that phrase because I know that's a phrase that is used. So I just think that might be a term of art that is used when it comes to the minors' abilities and their laws, their rights around what they can consent to and what they can't. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there.
They're not consenting to the diagnosis. They're consenting to the actual exams and treatment. The diagnosis is completely separate.
Which they are allowed to consent and get themselves without parental consent.
Mm.
And so I think it's two different things. And so that's why I think they use those two different words, because they are allowed to, I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, maybe it references ORS 684, so maybe we can look at that when we go into rulemaking and make sure there's not conflicting language. I don't know.
Well, 684 is just the licensing statute. generally.
Oh.
Yeah. It could be examination, treatment, and diagnosis, to include all three.
That seems like a good compromise.
That's all I had, because we can talk about it when we go into rulemaking, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. I wrote it down. So
Michelle, there's a question in the chat.
My red dot stays on all the time, so I can't tell when there's actually a new. Are efforts being made to add chiropractors to the minor consent laws in ORS 109?
Yeah, so we've had kind of 2 sessions now. Not this session because our budget was the main focus, but I know OCA and us have been putting forward legislative concepts to incorporate this rule into statute. It didn't have much legs both sessions, so I'd have to get with OCA for it probably wouldn't come up on the wouldn't probably come up for the short session in 2026. We may touch base on it in 2027, but that's still conversations to come. But there have been efforts, yes.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to enter rulemaking in October. Is there any further discussion? All right, so we will go to a vote. Karen?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Micah? Oh, sorry, gosh. I'm all out of order. Mike?
Aye.
Lori?
I
Micah?
Aye.
Aye for myself, motion carries. All right. And the last one to review, continuing education.
We review this one all the time.
At least it feels like that.
It
It's really
does.
Feels like that for sure. I think our most recent addition was the basic life support and cultural competency the last couple of years. Any changes what made? Do we need to enter rulemaking or are we good?
I think we're good unless have any issues. I remember when we had first changed it with the BLS, there were issues that came up, but have there been any other issues where we weren't specific enough?
I don't think so.
Okay. Looks good.
Everybody okay then? It's a long one.
All right.
Okay. So we have an interview.
Yes, we need to go
so
into
I need to read the thing. My home printer died, so hold on. Okay. The Oregon Board of Chiropractic Examiners will now meet in executive session to consider information or records that are exempt from public inspection, including advice from legal counsel, and to consider information obtained as part of an investigation into licensee or applicant conduct. This executive session is held pursuant to ORS 192.660L, ORS 192.6602F and L, ORS 678.126, ORS 676.165, and ORS 676.175. I think that's an L. Is that a 1? Members of the news media. Okay. Members of the news media may remain during executive session but are directed to not report on, record, or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or information discussed during the executive session. If you are a member of the public, attendees attending through Microsoft Teams will now be removed from the virtual room, and audience members attending in person are asked to leave the room for the duration of executive session. At the end of executive session, the board will return to public session for the purpose of taking formal action on matters discussed in executive session. While the board is in public session, the public video stream will be available. If there are any questions about whether the board remains in executive session, you may contact info@obce.oregon.gov.
Okay, so we'll all see you in exec session.